Hey coin collectors, and welcome to DC Coin World International Coin Channel. And today we're going to take a look at the 1976 United Kingdom 50 pence coin, and that's the one right here in the center. And I wanted to show you it with these two other 1 penny coins. This is a 1946 1 penny. It's a 1963 1 penny, and just talk about all the ways that these coins are similar. Well, they don't look much alike, do they? And they don't, I mean, when we have them this way, they don't even have the same image on them. If we look at the 1946 1 penny coin, we see that it is Seated Britannia. It says 1 here, penny here, and these coins have been around since the 1800s with Britannia, some even earlier than that. And you see that there's Britannia seated with a trident, a shield. Next to her, a lighthouse behind her, and it says 1 in the front, penny in the back. And we see this kind of geared outer rim here. Now, if we look at these two coins, the first thing we notice is that they're almost the same in terms of how far, if we were talking about circumference. And look at that, almost exactly the same in circumference, except when we look at the 50 pence coin, we see that it's not round at all. It's a 7-sided equilateral curved heptagon. If we flip the 1 penny coin over, we have one very striking similarity, and that is the family similarity here. This, of course, is George VI, Queen Elizabeth II's father. He's facing to the left. And in 1946, they still had the Imperator or Emperor of India on the coins, and that came off a couple of years later. When we look at this one, we see it's Queen Elizabeth. It says Elizabeth II in front of her. It says DG Reg, or by the grace of God, Regina or Queen, Defender of the Faith, FD 1976. And we see that it has she's wearing a crown, and this is the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. So this coin is a copper nickel coin. It weighs about 13.5 grams. This coin here weighs about 11 grams. So even though it's looks like it's slightly bigger, it weighs a little bit less because the nickel weighs more than the copper. Different shape. But now let's look at the back and see why I said that there's some similarities here. When they put out the 50 new pence coin in 1969, one of the things that bothered a lot of people was that there was not going to be a Britannia or a Seated Britannia on the coins anymore. And so because they were getting rid of the 1 penny coins. And so what they did on the 50 new pence was they put a Seated Britannia. And you see here, she is seated with a lion and a shield. There's no lighthouses and no ocean here. She is holding an olive branch in this left hand and a trident in her on her right side. And it says new at the top in pence. So it's a 50 new pence coin. It actually is almost exact same diameter. This is 30.3, I think, or 30.6 for the penny. And it is 30 even for if you go across from point to point on the 50 new pence. These coins came out in 1969 as part of the decimalization of the British pound, and they were around and usable until 1998. What happened that made them that took them out of circulation? Well, it was another Britannia that came along, and this is the 50 pence Britannia. So we see new pence here, and then we see 50 pence here. So they actually changed it up. This is a 2000. Same 7 sides, but it's a much smaller coin. And so after 1998, they took these out of circulation, the big ones. So that's the big. And actually by 1998, we had changed over to the word new was taken out in 1982, and it just said 50 pence from 1982 on. And then 50 pence when they changed it over to the smaller one. And of course, with a new portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, the Ian Rank Broadley portrait. And this portrait here, I should say, is the Arnold Machin portrait, who's we've talked about Arnold Machin a lot, the engraver of the coins, and he just did this wonderful job on these coins. All right, how much is it worth? Maybe $1. How many did they make? Well, they made. It's weird how the United Kingdom makes its coins, but in 1969, when they first came out with these, they made 188 million. 1970, they made about 19.5 million, and then 71, 72, they only made proofs. 73, they didn't make any at all. 74, 75, they only made proofs. And so 76 was actually the second circulating version of the 50p. First came out in 69. The next circulating version was this one right here. The second circulating version was 1976, because everything in between was either a year they didn't make any or a year that they only made proof sets. In 1976, they made proof sets also. And if you find one of these in a proof set, it's worth significantly more. It's worth about $5 or so. If you want this one right here, it's probably worth about $1. I wouldn't pay much over that because they're very, very easy to get. And there are plenty of them around, and they're not usable anymore in terms of buying anything. So what do we got? So we got Britannia on the back. We got the small Britannia on the back on the newer 50p, and we got the huge old Britannia on the back on the old 1-penny coins. That's all we have today from DC Coin World International Coin Channel. We'd love to have you subscribe to our channel and leave any comments you have in the comments section.